and you hit live. That's awesome.
Yes, sir. What's going on, man?
Nothing too much. I see you trying to get some blooper reels on the Sports Brothers show, but that's all good. Bloopers ain't bad. They can be entertaining depending on what the blooper is.
Absolutely, man. Today is August the 16th, 2022. And we are the Sports Brothers. He's Zach. I'm Mr. 411. And today we're going to talk about the NFC and the AFC West. But before we do that, man, how was your sabbatical, man? I know you was out last week.
Uh,
Everything good on your end?
no technical issues this week. El Paso is good because it's nice and dry and all that other stuff. Doesn't get too cold, but you get a little bit of rain here, it can tear through everything because they're not built like back home in Georgia or I guess other places that get a lot of rain to withstand that.
All right, well, good, man. You're all in one piece. Everything's well. You're back, and it's time to do the show, man.
Let's do it.
All right, here we go.
All righty.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Please do the following.
Boy, we don't even give you a little time to warm up. It's like we boom, there it is.
Yep, got to do that. Got to get that piece of business in there. We thank everybody for tuning in and watching. As we stated earlier, we are going to talk about the NFC East. The NFC and the AFC West. We'll talk about the East later on because there's a couple teams in there that a couple people want to come on and talk about. But we want to talk about this West. And one of the teams in the NFC West is my team, but we'll eventually get to that later.
All right, we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll eventually get to that. All right, so man, Zach, let's go ahead and jump on this, man. Let's start with the AFC. Let's go with the AFC West. This division is, as many experts are saying, is a loaded division. Consists of the Chiefs. Oh, sorry. It consists of the Chiefs, the Raiders, the Chiefs, Raiders, Broncos. Right?
Don't worry, I've had to say sorry a couple times too in my life.
But it's loaded, man. So let's talk about that division there with the Chargers, the Chiefs, the Raiders, and the Broncos. We'll start off with just a little nugget about this division. There is a 4.76% chance that all four teams will make the playoffs. That's a tall task for it to happen, but according to a lot of experts, this division is loaded from top to bottom. So let me just ask you this real quick: do you think that all four teams will make it?
It depends on what you think. I'd say of Baltimore and Cincinnati, because and then I guess depending on what happens with Cleveland, but you would have to think that two of the teams from the AFC North would put themselves in position to make the playoffs. That's kind of the division may not be as good as the West, but they're maybe as balanced. So, four teams from the West making it when they're going to be fighting each other. Because if you go 3-3 in the West, that's probably a good record, or that's what you should be hoping to go. So who's going to go 2-4? Who's going to go 1-5, and vice versa? Who's going to go 4-2 and then go 5-1? They'd have a chance, but I'm gonna say no. I would go. They'll get 3, not 4.
Wow, that's still a very strong percentage there. That's 75% of the division. Yes. And that just goes to show how tough it is. I mean, it's loaded at the quarterback position and a lot of key acquisitions. We'll talk about the Raiders right quick with them adding Adams at receiver. So Adams at receiver and Carr at quarterback. What do you think about the Raiders situation? Do you think that
Well,
was a good move?
Well, first, I'm gonna say since we're talking about the Raiders first, that must mean the producers think the Raiders are the worst team in the division. And I'm gonna go on and tell you they're at worst the second best team in the division. And I won't even hide who I think is third or fourth. The Broncos and the Chargers are gonna be fighting out for that third or fourth position. The Raiders are very good. Getting Adams, they have the best skill positions in the division, and someone had to tell me different because Carr might not be the best quarterback, but once you get past quarterback, wide receiver, and then you add in tight end. If you like Hunter Renfro is your second wide receiver, and then running back Josh Jacobs. To me, that's probably your best combination of skill players. Adams for the Raiders was a must. They lost Henry Ruggs in the with him having his alcohol incident, getting a DUI. So that's a big time issue for them. So they needed a one. Adams is definitely a one. His statistics may not be as good as they are in Green Bay, and a lot of people are going to contribute that to Derek Carr. It may not be all on Carr because you would think that defensive coordinators are going to set themselves up to try and stop him. But the gravity that he puts out there as far as defense is coming towards him should open things up for Renfro, should open things up for Brian Edwards, gonna open things up for freaking oh my god, I just said his name a second ago, for Darren Waller. He probably will get more space than he's ever had since he's been there, and it should open things up for Josh Jacobs. And then hopefully what will happen is utilizing Josh Jacobs more will let Adams get his yards and everything. So Adams is only 29. I would say if he gives you 1,200 yards and gets you 12 touchdowns, that should be a successful season. And hopefully it will give Derek Carr more of a comfort level. He'll be the best receiver that Derek Carr has had. And Derek Carr should be a better player. And producers, can you turn on his mic, please?
Yeah, I feel like the Chargers are going to be the second best team this year. I think that they're poised to have an explosive season offensively, and with the acquisitions on the defensive end too, I think that that's going to kind of keep them near the top of the race. I do think the Chiefs are going to finish at the top again. I think that even though they lost Tyreek, the cheetah, I still think that they're going to.
Did you jump over your take of the Raiders? First.
Well, no, I'm just going over everything right now, and
gotcha.
So yeah, because I'm saving the Raiders for my last one there, or for my next to last one, because I do think the Raiders will finish third in the division. But that still doesn't disqualify them from being a playoff team, in my opinion. But yeah, I think that they will finish third in the division, but they'll be formidable. I mean, they was in the picture last year as well, and they're probably going to get in there on the back end of the playoffs for me.
Okay. Why do you think the Chargers are better than the Raiders?
Well, I'm high on the offense for one. I think Justin Herbert's going to have a very good season this year. I mean, a really good season. I think that he gave you a lot of a glimpse into what he's going to be down because he really did deliver in a lot of key situations for that team, being such a young quarterback. But I like Keenan Allen at receiver. I like that. I like Williams at receiver as well. So those are some healthy targets for him. I like Eckler again. I like him out of the backfield. I like him as a receiver. And then picking up Mac on the defensive end, I think that is just going to help them as well. So I just feel like they're poised to not do like what they normally do, which is over the years the Chargers tend to start slow and then they try to make a push later on in the year. And I think this is going to be the year that they don't do that. So, but I don't have them over the Chiefs.
Okay, and what do you like so much about the Chiefs?
Well, I like experience from the Chiefs for one. They've been there, done that. Got the T-shirt. Andy Reid experience at the coaching him there, his offense, the systems that he likes to run, all that. Like it's all in place. I mean, they're more of a machine to me as far as they go offensively, and they've been able to go to a Super Bowl. They've been able to be in the Super Bowl, running for the last couple of years, and even last year, with with that big matchup with Buffalo last year, the shootout and everything, they still are going to be able to put up numbers, even though they don't have Evans, because it's more of a system. And they still have Kelsey at tight end. And they've been able to do all this and not necessarily have one of the best defenses of all time. And so, with that said, I think the Chiefs will keep rolling. And, as long as they have Mahomes and he's upright, they're going to be fine. And I think addition by subtraction is going to help Mahomes. Not having Tyreek there at receiver, I think it's going to force him to be a better quarterback.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, you just told the world you have never played defensive back or quarter in your life, because absolutely not. I'm absolutely not. If I'm somebody and I got to go guard the Chiefs right now, I feel so much better because I ain't got to go against a guy that can run by me every damn play. Now, I don't know how well he's going to do at Miami with Tua, because Tua don't have the arm that Mahomes has. But, oh, yeah, we will get to see how well Mahomes can play this year, because he's going to have to play real football this year. Kelsey is going to be a matchup issue, but I can now guard Kelsey because you ain't got Hill. I ain't got to worry about Hill running away from me. And it's not always that a guy is fast and he can run away, because I want to say Conley, or I may be I'm saying Conley, not Conley. Damn it, Georgia kid, I can't think about, but he is fast. But being fast,
you talking about Hardman?
Yes, Hardman. But being fast and being functional football fast is two different things. Hill is football fast, functional fast, and then just damn fast. Whereas Hardman hasn't shown you much with his speed. So we'll see how they do. My concern with the Chiefs is, and this is just kind of a fan thing that gets overlooked, like especially the way the game has been changed in football, that you can throw the ball more. It's easy for wide receivers to get numbers. Let's say easy for get quarterbacks to get numbers, but a lot of times those numbers are 20-20. Like, that's not a big deal. And a QB going out getting 30 touchdowns isn't necessarily a big deal either, because the game is set up for a QB to go get stuff. Once you start getting inside the red zone, you need to be able to run the football. And that's what the Chiefs have not been able to do. And that lack of a consistent run game causes you issues when you're trying to play complementary football, where I was going back with what you have to look more at, that everything ties together. And I know you know this. Like, the better you can run the ball, then the more you can dictate to the defense what you want to do. Be it a play action and the defense has to overreact because you can run the ball and now you got receivers by NFL standards running free, or just giving your defense a break on the sideline so they can go out there and rest up. And I can tell you, as a defender, it's much easier to play, 60 plays a game versus playing 90 plays a game. And I'll need to see how that works out for the Chiefs. I would probably still pick them to win the division, which I think I said earlier, but I'm not sure if they're not closer to 10 or 11 wins. As far as the Chargers, I think the thing with Herbert, and this is where perception comes into it so much. Everybody likes Herbert. All I hear about Herbert's this, Herbert's this. I mean, you just said it, and I don't think you were like trying to be funny about it, whatever. You like Herbert. You like what you see. He fits the bill. He's 6'6", 236 pounds, has a rocket arm, and like, he looks like what you would want as a quarterback. Whereas Derek Carr, for whatever reason, people don't like Derek Carr. Derek Carr has more playoff appearances than Herbert. You were talking about that the Chargers started fast and finished slow. Um, I think most people talk about that Raiders Chargers game, the end of the season that went to overtime. That it was a do or die game. Raiders win it, and people look at that's the game that kept the Chargers out of the playoffs. And if the coach had made better decisions with his, I guess he's one of those analytics types. Nick Wright likes him because he goes for. What did he go for in that game? I think it was he was inside his own 30 or something in that game, or on his 30, and he went for it on like a 4th and 8 or whatever. And I got no problem with any of that. Like, I don't blame that. The problem is down the stretch, they went 1-3. They had 3 games against divisions. The only game they won was the Denver game, which no shame in that. We just talked about how tough the division is. They lost to the Texans. They went on the road. He had an opportunity to beat the Texans with a rookie quarterback in Davis Mills, and Herbert got outplayed. He threw 2 interceptions that game. Mills threw 2 touchdowns. So for me, I need to see it from Herbert because he gives you all these great stats that don't mean a damn thing. Like you said, they should be better. I want to say one of the questions was how their defense is going to do. Their defense should be better. They have a lot of guys on that defense that should help out. Derwin James, former All-Pro. They got J.C. Jackson from the Patriots, All-Pro last year. Khalid Mack, former All-Pro. If he's healthy, you would think he would do well. Joey Bosa, Pro Bowler. They should be better, but ultimately, we need to see what the quarterback does. And I guess that leaves one team, the Denver Broncos, that has your former quarterback, and I guess you were saving them so you could give some good little nuggets about that. So I'll let you go in. And I guess just to add real quick, this is a close division. Somebody will get left out, and we'll have to see. All of these quarterbacks, success for their teams will be on their shoulders.
Yeah, but before we get to Denver, don't forget in Kansas City they also have Marquez Valdez Scanlon, and so that's also a good addition. And Juju, right, from the Steelers. So they lost to Cheetah. Yeah, they did, but they have other receivers in that lineup that's pretty solid. Tyreek's not going to. He may not go to the Hall of Fame. We're not sitting here saying he's a first ballot Hall of Fame wide receiver. So there are plenty of targets in Kansas City.
No, he was good.
They're going to spread it out. Yeah, he's and damn good. And
yes,
and he is a threat. So but this is what we're going to see where Mahomes. This is where the rubber meets the road for Mahomes. We're going to see what it's time for him to be the guy, and we're going to see if he can do that. And in Kansas City.
And Kansas City has, I mean, everybody likes Mahomes. This kind of goes to the Herbert thing, but Kansas City and Mahomes have been worse the past 3 years. They won the Super Bowl, then lost the Super Bowl, only scored 9 points, 3 field goals, and then they just lost in the conference championship and blew a second half lead. So you are correct. I know what Andy Reid can do. And I've seen Andy Reid do some stuff with some average to solid quarterbacks. Yes. Your dad being a Philadelphia fan, we know a lot about that. So Andy Reid is going to be Andy Reid. This all comes down to Mahomes and what he can do. And I think they need to get Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah, he needs
somebody.
Somebody got to step up and be the number 1 back.
Yes, and give them a semblance of a run threat.
Absolutely. Yeah, but we do feel good about, I guess, we're both saying here the Chiefs should win the division.
Yes.
We have the Raiders, and we have the Raiders and Chargers flip-flop. And then as you stated, Zach, excellent pitch.
I got the Chargers last. So
okay, you got the Chargers last.
I got them last.
Okay, well, you got them last then. So that means you have the team that we haven't discussed next to last in the division, and I have them last in the division, which is, and it's crazy to say it, but the Broncos, that I have them last in the division, and it's not because And it's not because Russell Wilson's playing there. It's not because he left Seattle. If you notice, we had conversations seasons ago that I was like, "Hey, it's time for Seattle to move on Russell Wilson anyway." Way before he even decided to really get out of town, because how the team was just depleted over the years, and it was just time to move forward and rebuild, retool. But man, uh, this division it's tough, and it's not that being last means that they're going to be like 4-12, 4-13. It just means out of these four teams, I have them trailing. They to me, now Russell, I know what he can do. A lot of us seen him cook, and will he cook in Denver? He definitely gonna probably cook the first game of the season versus Seattle. Uh, but in a lot of the games, he should do fine. It's gonna be shootouts. But I just have questions, man. I'm just not 100% on their running game. Um, Defensively, I'm I'm just going to I'm concerned about how they're gonna deal with all these possible shootouts that's going to be going on this year, and I have we got to wait and see on the receivers too. I think Judy is a solid receiver, and maybe Russell Wilson will help get him to another level. But I'm just and Sutton is a solid receiver, so he's got solid receivers in my opinion already. But is that going to be enough for me to put them over the Chiefs, over the Raiders, and over the Chargers? My answer today is no.
I, it's easy for me. I believe in Russell Wilson more than I believe in Herbert, and that's it. Because he left better weapons in Seattle. Like to say Seattle didn't have weapons or anything like that. I think that would be foolish. Those two receivers, as we've talked about a few times, they're good. They're plus receivers. If this was like baseball, you talk about somebody being a plus pitcher or whatever, they were plus receivers. The head coach is better than the head coach that's in Denver. So I'm just going off of Russell Wilson that he'll be good enough to make those pieces around him better. And he has the motivation of a large contract extension looming. And that's really it. Outside of that, I'm with you. Like Judy, I got no reason to have faith in Judy. And Sutton's okay. Javonte Williams, the running back out of North Carolina, maybe you give him a little bit, but I'm doing the thing that I get on y'all about. I'm giving him credit for past success in Seattle prior to last year when I saw him be able to elevate the pieces around him. And that's it. And I'll add, and I'll be honest about it, I have a bias against Herbert until he goes and does something. I'm tired of all the people fitting him with the green jacket. So I'll put him last.
They're that high on Herbert out there, Zach. There are people out there that high on Justin Herbert.
It's hardly anybody that ever says anything bad about Herbert. He is like, if you were to talk about Herbert, if you ask people would they rather have Herbert, and when I say people, like kind of professionals, would they rather have Herbert or would they rather have Lamar Jackson? A large majority of them would pick Herbert. And the NFL 100 is doing their player rankings. Mm-hmm. My guess is going to be, I hope the players look at it differently, but my guess is going to be Herbert is going to be quite high, and he'll be higher than Lamar Jackson.
Wow. Well, that's interesting. I would take Lamar Jackson over Herbert.
But that's just me. I mean,
that's just
former MVP, but it's always good things spoken about Herbert, and I just don't understand that for a guy that that hasn't done anything. Nick Wright loves Herbert, among other people. Colin Cowherd loves Herbert. They love him, but as I said, he looks the part.
Yeah, well, he does. I mean, he fits the look. He's a shiny new toy. So it's one of those things too. Once even Mahomes, look at Mahomes. He's taking a little bit of a little bit that shine came off a little bit last year for on him because of some of the errors of his ways last season. So the honeymoon phase, is going to end at some point for Herbert, and we'll see what this season does for that. Let's talk about the futures, Zach. with this division. And producers, get that up for us. All right. The futures for the AFC West, and we'll put those odds up as you can see right there. Kansas City looks like the favorite right now, and according to Vegas, the Vegas is last. So
Yes.
that's interesting. Yeah.
If and I think they have McDaniels now to New England as a head coach. I really believe they have the best skill players in the division. Now, of course, everybody has to have relative health or whatever. If you tell me they're finishing last in the division, they got 10 wins, okay, that means everybody else has some really good season. But if they only win like 7 or 8 games, and I think their over and under is 8.5,
Yeah.
I would expect them to win 10 games just like they won last year. And I know this is going into maybe a long diatribe, but think about it. They had to go through the Gruden thing. And a lot of people give Gruden the whatever for being a coach. I'm not sure if you could put him down as being this great coach. He won a Super Bowl, but outside of that, I mean, you'd have to go with maybe you got the kind of Mike McCarthy thing that's going on in Dallas. And then the Ruggs thing. You lost your number one receiver. And I want to say Jacobs was in and out of the lineup last year with various injuries. So I just think they should be able to perform because they have the best skill players. And this is an offensive league. And if McDaniels is what he's supposed to be, another one of these wonder kind offensive minds, he should be able to get them to where they need to go. Well, he definitely has more stuff than Seattle. Than Denver. If they finish behind Denver, Russell Wilson has had an MVP type season, or something has gone seriously wrong. Because I didn't think you were hating at all when you're talking about Denver. Denver is Wilson will get his opportunity, as you say, to cook, but he may not be. He ain't got the groceries in the kitchen to cook up the type of meal that he want to do.
Yeah, he might be cooking with what is it, ramen noodle? I mean,
yes.
We know about that now. That's some good eating, but
some hamburger helper.
Hey, that's one of my favorites right there.
Hey man, ate a whole bunch of it in college, and ramen noodles.
Yeah. Oh yeah, all the flavors. But yeah, we'll find out if Russ could cook. We'll find out. All right, hey, let's wrap this up with who's the best team? Who's the best team in this division? I mean, the best player in this division, Zach.
You have to go with Mahomes. For what I said about him stepping back, I mean, he's still a really young guy, and he's got some accomplishments on his resume. So I'll go with him until some other individuals in the division show different. I guess if Herbert is everything that everybody says, 2-3 years, Herbert should be passing him. But can I put one caveat?
Yes.
I won't be shocked if Russell Wilson is the best player at the end of the season, because he has done a lot over the years without a lot of great talent. So I wouldn't be shocked, but I'll take Mahomes.
Well, I mean, and Wilson is a veteran. I mean, he's been around since about 2012, and he's been to Super Bowls, been through playoffs. So, and Russell is a dual threat as well. It's not like, and again, it's not there's no kind of shade or anything, as they say out in the streets, no cap, whatever, whatever all that stuff, all that. There's none of that on Russ. None of that on Russ. Just want to put that out there in the air. But yeah, man. So we'll see how it goes. It's going to be an exciting division. We definitely can say that it's going to be exciting. I think all 4 teams have the opportunity. They all feel like it, and they're going in feeling that way, and so are the fan bases. I'm certain of that, and that's what makes that's actually what makes the NFL great. I mean, you have opportunity to win your division, which gets you into the playoff, and that's kind of like how it's built.
Who's your best player?
Patrick Mahomes. I put the picture up.
Oh God, I didn't know you were agreeing.
I mean, it's go without said, man. So Patrick Mahomes, we'll do the instant replay right here. Bam, there we go. Patrick Mahomes, he's the guy. He's the man right now until someone can dethrone him.
That's fair.
Yep. All right. After this commercial, Zach, we're going to come back and talk about the NFC East, which includes one of my teams. So we'll talk about that in just a minute.
Sounds good. All righty.
The events, NYC, up in the NYC area. We are on Blackjack TV. We need to thank Blackjack for supporting the Sportz Brothas show and all the other shows that we have. And we got a special show coming up in January that, ladies and gentlemen, you have to buckle up and be ready for. And that's all I've got to say about that. But check out GG Events. If you want your party set up the right way, look at those. You saw those images. I mean, that's the only way to go. So check out GG Events NYC. All right, we're going to talk about the National Football Conference Western Division, the NFC West.
Sounds good.
All right. And thank you, Blackjack TV.
Gotta love it.
We have no choice, Zach. We have to.
Oh, well, we always have choices, but what they say, mama say, dance with who brought you.
Yep.
Blackjack brought us, we dancing with him.
That's it. We're going to get jiggy with it. and speaking of getting jiggy, after the game, you need to check out after the game Wednesday night at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. If you want to, get jiggy with it, get down, have a good time,
grown folks combo.
Have something to drink, while you're watching the show. Check out the ladies after the game. They're going to talk about Brittany Griner, and they're going to talk about the state of the WNBA as well. So that's going to be an interesting episode. I happened to be able to sit in one of the production meetings, and there was some things said that, I'm not going to repeat it now, but there's going to be some things said at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time Wednesday that you don't want to miss. I couldn't believe I heard some of the stuff, but with my own ears, but they said it. All right, Zach. The NFC West. All right, in this division, we have the San Francisco 49ers, my Seattle Seahawks, and the Arizona Cardinals, and of course, the team that won the Super Bowl, the Los Angeles Rams, the NFC West. So we're going to talk about that division. What do you want to talk about first, Zach?
Might as well talk about the champs first.
All right.
Well, you wouldn't know, baby, that the Rams won the championship the way they're treated kind of around the league or whatever, because a lot of it is they're an afterthought, but they had I mean, they won the Super Bowl, and 32 teams start the season. Majority of them have a goal to win the Super Bowl, and they outlasted everybody else to make it. So that was a great accomplishment for them. More so for a guy from Georgia, Matt Stafford, who up until that point, from a quarterback standard, quarterback standard or standpoint with his resume and everything, he had not lived up to being the number one pick. And Detroit didn't get what they were supposed to get out of him. Some of that was probably the organization's fault. But even last year, you can see, I think Matt Stafford led the league in interceptions with 17. Uh, and I should know more than other people because he was my fantasy football quarterback. He was a lot of hills and valleys. Like, you know, 2-3 weeks you going up, up, up. Then all of a sudden, 2 weeks you going down. But he was an upgrade over Jared Goff and helped them get to their goal. Gave them at least enough consistency at the quarterback position. Made enough plays. For what they were looking for. And because outside of that, they had a good team. We'll probably get into this, but I'll go ahead and let the cat out of the bag. They got the best player in pro football in Aaron Donald. Maybe he slipped some, but, he's been there. Jalen Ramsey, who our boy Rob loves to death at the cornerback position. I'm not as high on Jalen Ramsey, but Jalen Ramsey is a elite corner. They had Von Miller, who left off to Buffalo. So that was another pass rusher they had. Adding the fact, and I think we got a question about Cooper Kupp. He probably benefited the most from Matt Stafford. Had an outstanding season, 1,900 plus yards, even with the extra game. Great season for him. I think he ended up being a Super Bowl MVP. So the Rams, I think they take a step back this year, but they have an opportunity again because I think overall, offensively, at least this division, the other teams took a step back.
Yeah. I think, the Rams, I have them winning the division again. We talked about it. Might as well knock it out of there. Aaron, Donald, you know what I've said for years about Seattle having to deal with this guy.
Yes.
Right. Well, I believe he was Russell Wilson's kryptonite. You know what I mean? Like, this guy's just getting the backfield, wreak havoc, damage you, hurt
Correct.
you have to double this guy and he's still getting through, which opens the door for everybody else too. So, and playing in that stadium, and the Chargers play there too, but let's face it, it's the Rams place. And like the SoFi Stadium, that's an amazing place. And I know they had a little issue with the San Francisco fans, but look how they handled that. I think they played them in the regular season. I think it was last game of the year, next to last game of the year, somewhere in there. And it felt like the 49ers were the home team. And look how they combated that and flipped it. You know what I'm saying? They flipped that, they turned it, and and they went and ultimately win the Super Bowl in that same stadium. So, and they beat Tampa Bay in Tampa Bay. So you gotta really look at this team really coming back again. And it's can't say that. I'm not gonna say that they're gonna win the Super Bowl just yet, because eventually we'll get to that on another episode. But for the division, as far as that goes, I see them winning this division.
And I would agree with you. And I'll give the Rams credit in this. They're doing the things that you probably need to do in this day and age in football as far as their key personnel. GM, I think it's Les Snead. If I'm wrong on that, I apologize. I'm trying to go off my head. I ain't research, but think he's a pretty good GM. Then their coach, the young guy, he's a pretty good young coach. That was his second appearance in the Super Bowl. Then I'm not high on Stafford, but they made quarterback a priority and they gave up what they had to do to get consistency at quarterback. And the year before, they go out in the second round of playoffs. This year, upgrade on Goff. You get to the Super Bowl. Wide receiver. The rules have changed. Your wide receiver can help you win or they can dominate. Cooper Kupp getting paid, he dominates. Then pass rusher. They got the best pass rusher in the NFL. And cornerback. So if you're good in those key spots, which they are, you give yourself a chance to win. And you can kind of look at different organizations and see where they're good or they're bad at. But those are kind of places you need to be solid at. And they are. So like you, I won't tell you that they're going to win the Super Bowl. And I know we're talking about that later. But they're at least in the hunt.
Yeah, definitely. They're definitely in the hunt. And the names that you did mention, Les Snead and Sean McVay. All right, Zach.
Appreciate it. Les Snead. Man. Yeah, it's hard to keep up with GMs. Like it ain't like anybody is promoting them or they at the club trying to date the GMs. That like they come in, don't nobody know who the hell they are. But yeah.
But no, that's a good job though, Zach. I mean, hiring those extra people in production, man. The production truck is helping us this for this episode. But
yes, it is.
Yeah, but the Rams, we're already on that. They're going to win this division, and that leaves who's going to be second in this division, right? San Francisco or Arizona. That's the thing right here we need to get into. Where are we looking there? Do you think do you think Kyler Murray, do you think that he can get it done?
Well, who's starting for San Francisco? If they are committed to Trey Lance and he's going to start the whole season, I don't have much faith in Trey Lance. So if I got to choose between the two, kind of based on what we were talking about, Trey Lance, at least as of right now, I'll be kind and say he's an unknown. So Kyler Murray should be, I mean, he just got the big contract. He should be better, right?
He should.
He's the veteran guy. He has the better, he may not have the better running game, but he has the better receivers. So sure, I will take the Cardinals as second, but but when I'm taking them as second, I'm thinking that might be like 9 wins. So I don't know if they get into the playoffs. I'll say the same thing I said about the Chiefs. They can't run the ball. And people are going to look at Kyler Murray and yep, he goes out there and he runs the ball and all of this stuff and it's magical. It looks great. And, I've heard all this before. I saw Mike Vick. Mike Vick he don't run the ball as good as Mike Vick. I can tell you that. And I know the rules are different. Mike Vick would get tagged. Mike Vick got injured. What was it? Preseason, I think 1 year against Tampa Bay. Broke his leg, maybe.
Again, no, that was against a defense that was strong like that. It was the Ravens.
I'm talking about in preseason. It was the Ravens.
Yeah, it was the Ravens. It was the Ravens.
And broke his leg, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like your quarterback being able to run the ball is great, but they don't run the ball like a running back. And anytime they I would almost let you run your quarterback 30 times. And if he picks up 10 yards a clip, that's great. Because if I just get one hit on your quarterback, that's really all it takes is one hit and it derails your whole season. I think Murray's going to get injured. I'm not so sure how proficient he is because he's a little guy. It seems he has issues inside the pocket, identifying his targets correctly. He's got some receivers, but what's his damn name? That came from Houston, DeAndre. Out of Clemson.
Yeah, you talking about Hopkins?
He's out the first 6 games, so you lose him. AJ is great. I mean, I'm not gonna say AJ. AJ is at least average now, so that's good. You lost Christian Kirk to Jacksonville that reset the wide receiver market for everybody. So I'm sure players love him.
Marquise Brown just got in trouble.
I forgot about it. They got Marquise Brown. Like,
he's in trouble now. So
it's on Kyler Murray, and I know this is maybe where the league is leaning and why you pay the quarterback so much money. So, do you believe in him? I don't believe in Kyler Murray. Just like when they're putting a clause in your contract to say you got to study this many hours a week, and they may not have needed to do that, but that's kind of like a something. Like the fact that you do something like that, like if he actually studied like this, they wouldn't have put it in there. They wouldn't have lied and said let's put it in there to try and embarrass this guy. There's probably some truth to that. I would go question mark with them, but I will take them second in the division.
Yeah, man, this is tough. The more I think about it, and it's just that the logical choice is to go with them because, I mean, they were, right there in the playoffs, correct?
Yes.
And so the San Francisco was basically picking in the top 10 or somewhere in there this past season. And again, the question marks are surrounding the quarterback position in San Francisco. You have a real young guy in Trey Lance at this point.
Yes,
I'm not gonna toot my own horn, but I did predict that they would draft him, and
you
they
did,
did.
and you
Yeah,
hit it out of the park on that one. I think it
yeah,
was the Mac Jones or him,
right.
and you called it correctly.
Yeah, and they're high on him, and as you can see, they didn't keep Jimmy G. They allowed Jimmy G to try to find his next landing spot. And so they're gonna hitch their wagon to Trey, and that could go different ways. I mean, he can surprise everybody and catch everybody off guard, or he can do some magnificent things with his legs that you can't account for, and that might get you off to a great start. But eventually, the lack of experience is going to have to hit at some point. Um, they have weapons. I mean, they have some strong. They got receivers that are like running backs. Samuel and Ayuk, Kittle at tight end.
Yes,
Those are strong, especially big. Big strong targets. Targets that he can just give little quick, easy passes to, if you will, and then they can do the yak. The yards after the catch, and so you can benefit off that. But is that enough to put them over Arizona? I think they're neck and neck, and it's probably going to come down to the head-to-head matchups between those two teams. And so, man, it's flip a coin on that. But I'll lean more towards Arizona because of the experience, and go there. Of course, injuries can change the whole game anyway. But they're kind of right there for the taking in that 2-3 slot, and that's how I feel about that. I think it is still a little too early for the Trey Lance hype. I think they need to just kind of let him play, and everybody need to be ready to take the ups and the downs with him. All right, Zach.
yeah. I think with the NFL, and as I said, I know the rules have changed, but I'll say the same thing about Fields up in
Chicago, yeah.
Chicago. That they put these young guys. I know you play these young guys a lot of money, but if you think they're gonna be your quarterback, then you probably gonna be in the league for 10 to 12 years. Why do they feel the need to start them so quickly and just put them out there and maybe not bring them along slower? And I'll go to a sport. Gary Payton. When Gary Payton was drafted with Seattle, Gary Payton was talented, but he wasn't just handed the reins to be the point guard. I think he took over from Nate McMillan, and they worked him into that role. I don't know if it was a 2-year process or a 3-year process.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know enough about Lance to say what his success level will be, but I know in college he had 308 pass attempts, and in his last year he only played one game.
Yep.
You're bringing this young man in after you just went to the NFC Championship game last year, and I think was in the game until maybe the last 6-7 minutes or something, if not the last 4 or 5 minutes that you had a chance to win. So if he doesn't make it to the conference championship, it's going to look like a failure. I do think if you can, kind of like you were saying, if you can focus on the running game and you use a maybe possession type offense in the passing game, their defense is, especially their line, they come
tough.
to knock you. They come to knock you on your ass. Like they play football on that side of the ball, and even in the linebacking core. Secondary, they probably would like some improvements. But they gonna hit you in your damn mouth. So if he can be good, and I'll have to see what they do with the running game because they run the ball well. So if you're talking about maybe put him in some boots, things of that nature, I'm not going to be big on the quarterback draws because I'll say the same thing. You don't want to get your quarterback hit. Yeah. I can see them winning 10 games or 11 games, depending.
It's possible. It's possible. I mean, they depend on the schedule too. That might help too. Being a non-playoff team, you might come back with a better schedule. Get you a couple extra victories in there. Maybe that helps.
Well, this is the problem for both conferences that we were talking about. They play each other. So the West plays the West this year. So, you're when you're hoping to get maybe some easy games out of conference, you go from playing your tough damn division opponents, and then you're like, oh damn, we got to play them guys on the West.
Yeah, the West side.
So
yeah,
that's a bad draw this year for both of them.
And Zach, you mentioned boots, and some people may say, "What kind of boots? High tech boots? What kind of boots? Are you referring to the bootleg in football? Just for those
Yes.
who don't understand what boots is.
Some Timberlands, huh? Yes, the bootleg in football.
Okay. All right. Yeah, man. So, man, look, it leaves one more team. All right. This team is, I think we both agree, is going to probably, no, they're going to finish last in the division, you know, and I'm come to grips with that. And I'm cool with that. You know, that's my team. I'm good with that. But Seattle, before I talk about what I want to see from Seattle, I like to know from you, what are you seeing? What are you
Uh,
thinking going to happen in Seattle?
Well,
What do
I'm
you,
gonna
what do
tell
you
you
just want to
what.
see from
I I want to see them win 1 to 3 games because the worst thing that could happen is they win 6 or 7 damn ball games. So you win enough not to be terrible, and you don't put yourself in position. I don't. I like the Alabama quarterback. He's little. Other people may not like him so much. People tend
them?
to like that Ohio State quarterback a lot, and the Miami quarterback Van Dyke. So Stroud out of Ohio State, Van Dyke Miami. They seem to like, but Seattle should be in position to get one of those guys. You win 6 or 7 games and you screw yourself. So they either need to win the 1 to 3 or they need to win 10 plus and make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, this is gonna. I mean, man, I hate to say this because success should give you some leeway, but it's probably time. You moved on from Wilson. You've lost a lot of the Legion of Boom guys or whatever. I think they let Bobby Wagner go, which damn, I should have brought this up. Bobby Wagner's with the damn Rams. And that'll
Another
be a
issue.
problem. Yeah,
Yeah.
that'll be a problem. You probably need to move on from Pete Carroll. And I think he's 70 plus anyway now, right?
He's 70 on the dot.
So it could be time for a transition, maybe someone younger, more offensive minded. Uh, and I'm not sure who y'all's GM is, but maybe you might have to make a change for him because they've kind of been paying the wrong positions, as I was talking about with the Rams. Like you pay Adams, and I talked about this when they got Adams for the Jets. Like he was a good get, but you gave up that draft capital, and then you had to pay him,
Yeah.
and you just don't pay you don't pay safeties, you don't pay running backs, you don't pay kickers and punters. You save that money, as much as I hate to say it, for quarterbacks, wide receivers, defensive ends, and you save it for corners. But I have great deal of respect for Seattle. So I don't know if they're gonna win 3 games or less. I think they're gonna be a pretty functional, and I think they may be in that 6-win category. If I'm being real.
Yeah, Seattle. They're Pete Carroll is an excellent coach, and he's an excellent motivator. And players tend to they want to play for him. Like
Yes.
the vibe I'm getting in Seattle is that the players that are there, they're upbeat. Pete Carroll's energy keeps everybody, the spirits up, and they're going to come out playing hard. They're going to play well. Penny's back at. He's actually going to start the season off healthy this year, and he should help in the
Amen.
backfield. He should help back there. And you stated this earlier in the show. Metcalf and Lockett at receiver. They're no slouches. They don't take back seats to anybody. That's a great
Absolutely not.
combination. You have a speed receiver. You got a speed receiver. You got a big target in Metcalf. So you have things in place. And picking up Fant in the trade for Russell Wilson. That's a solid
Yes.
tight end. That should help as well. The question is, who's going to start the season at quarterback? Is it going to be Locke or is it going to be Geno Smith? That's what we have to find out. And I guess this preseason is what's going to tell that. But despite whoever the quarterback is, they're going to have to just manage the game, and that's not a bad thing. What I mean by that is don't be the don't have any silly turnovers. Don't do things that's going to hurt the team. Stay in the game as long as you can, and see what your special teams and defense, and and let your other players to get things done for you. Just keep everybody in a good position. What I like for Seattle, I would like for them to be competitive every game and then lose almost every game. So if they can do the two,
Understand.
if they can do both, then that'd be great because, man, that draft next year, there's a lot of prospects right there that a lot of people are high on at the quarterback position. So you can draft your quarterback of the future. You still can roll with Geno or you can roll with Locke. Either one doesn't matter. You can roll with either one of them, and you still can develop that quarterback. And then, but also, I want to ask you this too, real quick, before we get out of here. There's a linebacker at that plays for University of Alabama. Do you think they should look at him?
No, is it, and he's probably the best player coming out in the draft. But the way the rules are in the NFL, you got to have your quarterback. Like you got to have at least a Matt Stafford type level quarterback, like what the Rams have, or like I put Matt Stafford and Derek Carr probably in the same category. So you got to have somebody that's functional, because if not, your quarterback is always going to get exposed. Right? Like because I was going to tell you about Trey Lance. Like it'd be nice if San Francisco could let Trey Lance say throw the ball 20 times or less. But probably in this day and age, you have to throw it 25 times or more. And you start throwing it that much, you got to have a guy. But yes, if they got him, it wouldn't be bad. But now you probably got to take a QB.
Yeah, well, there's plenty of them to take, and we'll definitely have the pick of the litter. That's the goal. And then do your research, end up with the right one, and then we're off to the races. Then maybe one day we do this show again in a couple seasons. We do the NFC West preview, and maybe 2 seasons from now, 3 years from now, we'll be talking about them as the team that could win the division. Bring it back to the old days, if you will.
Well, don't worry, Seattle fans. I got the Jets on the clock for the #1 draft pick. And they probably won't be taking a quarterback, though they should be.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just being mean. I need to leave Wilson alone. My apologies.
Yeah, man. Your namesake. I don't know why you give him a tough time like that, Zach. All right, man. Well, that's an excellent job, man. We're up against the clock, but with time to spare. I mean, we ran the offense well today.
Hey, the producers told me this could be done, and it was done. So good job. The 2 West, probably though Seattle has fallen back a bit, depending on what's going to happen in the AFC North. These are probably the 2 best divisions in football.
Yeah, absolutely. Should be good. All right, Zach. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Mr. 411.
Oh, no problem, man. As always, we do this, man. But we thank everybody for watching and listening. He's Zach. I'm Mr. 411. We are the Sportz Brothas. We thank you. We'll see you next week.
Have a good one. Thank you.